Hi, this is Calpun Piso. I'm going to explain creation. You know, we create the mind with the brain, and of course, gods, demons, and everything. Over 40,000 years ago, um, primitive man created the gods with his brain, but the gods were the penis and the stars. But the penis gave primitive men, like it does all of us, orgasm, which is actually heaven. It's the idea of life after death, in a sense, but orgasm, pleasure, is heaven. It was created with the penis and with masturbation. And one thing that helped a lot were the ingestion of drugs, plants, and roots. And this actually stimulated the brain. And if you had, if you masturbated, play with your penis, or had touched your penis, then it created a tremendous sensation. It was stimulated, and there was the kingdom of heavens experience with orgasm. This is 40,000 years ago. All the epigraphy shows that. It was all phallic worship, but you'll see it everywhere. The ones that put it in writing, in epigraphy, not in writing, but in epigraphy and symbols, were primitive men over 12,000 years ago in the temples. And you see some that are being excavated in Turkey that clearly proves what I say is true. Then later on, the Egyptians really created the refined religion stories, which you can see in the Book of the Dead, in the epigraphy, all over the place, which shows, in their belief, a god Atun that existed, created himself, probably was aware of himself. It's like saying, like Descartes said, cogitu ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. But the concept was a long, long time ago, but they couldn't explain it, so it was just all thanks to the organ of creation, our penis. Thus religion started. Now, thanks to Christianity, Christ-psychosis, the cancer of the brain that created immorality, pedophilia, racism, and all these bad things that you can see today, they're still with us today, especially intellectual stagnation. Thanks to these people, the psychotic people in the 3rd century, 4th century, when they gained control of the whole Roman Empire and it created the Dark Ages, then to them sex became a sin. And that is the reason that they never mention the creation history with the penis, and all that they were considered sacred. The organ of creation was considered sacred and worshipped all over the ancient world until Christianity came around and buried it, put it on the ground. That's the reason in the British Museum and all the museums, they never show the phallic symbolism in Egypt. None. All the papyrus, everything is gone. Even the creation history that you will see here in these clips is showing everybody's dressed like nothing. The God existed and he created this, but they don't say the truth that he created, the God Atum created the world and everything and all the rest of the gods with an act of masturbation, out of fellatio. In other words, he got semen in his mouth, creating infinity, the Ouroboros, and then he spit the gods of air, water, and fire, and everything else, and everything was created. That was a beautiful story. And that, the Egyptians created that and make sense of their world. So thanks to Christianity, people are stupid, ignorant. They are prudish, and they consider sex a sin. And they created all this pornography nonsense and sadomasochism and the rest of confusion that you see in the world today, and which includes pedophilia and sexual molestation and sadomasochism, finding sexual pleasure out of beating somebody up. That was unheard of in the ancient world. It was unheard of. It's unheard of in tribes throughout the world. You know, people live in the Amazons that they don't. Children run around naked and people are naked and they ladies show their It's normal. Only in the Christianity-infected world, this becomes a sin and a perversion. So, here's my point. You will see here now the creation myth, how it is, and how it's still with us today. But it's disguised as this. This is when a Christian does this, they're sucking dick, actually. They're worshiping the penis Christ. When they go like this, they're worshiping the penis. The Muslims that go down in the fourth, they actually wanted to accept the penis in their butt because we are evolved mutated primates. We males have a prostate gland that if it gets stimulated, gives us a sensation and pleasure. That's very normal. And so everything is related to sex and drugs. This is the hand of God, a reliquary from the Middle Ages in Aachen, Germany, contains the bones of a saint. Now I know the meaning of the hand of God. This is in Jerusalem, you have that. In the Arab world, you have that with all the Kabbalistic symbols. That's the hand that masturbated to God. And as you can see here in the British Museum's story of creation, they miss the whole point. They leave out the sex, the masturbation, the erection, the creation with semen, and all that. That's very, very important. And these people, thanks to Christianity, infected with Christianity, that stagnates the intellect and corrupt the mind of people, giving them lies and more lies and more lies, they miss the point that everything started with an act of masturbation and sex, 6,000, 7,000 years ago. That's the way creation started. And the corruption of the religions and different gods of the Roman Empire, they were very, very tolerant. When Christianity began, concentrating only on the cult of the sacrifice Christus Julius Caesar, the city of Rome, that started Christianity and created, everything was distorted and created. But here you see a tune. The penis is a door. People have to kneel down to actually practice proskinesis. You see that, and you see the little cross that is around it. This is a representative symbol of the sun. And all the 12 months of the year are representing stars, and they're all receiving the milk, the sacred milk, the semen. You see this little figure here that is praying, putting the hands up. He is trying to grab the penis, the shaft of the god. And when in Christianity, here is my blood, and here is my body. He's representing his penis, and also his semen and his blood. So everybody that is kneeling down, and in every religion, and the Muslims do the same thing. When you kneel down to venerate God, you are actually performing fellatio. It's mimicking to perform fellatio. And this is the epigraphy is incredible, and it's right there. The evidence is there. And I would suggest atheists like Dawkins and Sam Harris, and all these people are clueless about religious beliefs, and they have no idea. They might be know biology and some other stuff, but they are clueless and blind to where all this psychosis began in the ancient Roman Empire. And they should get educated in that to understand what atheism means, the lack of belief in an imaginary friend. And this you can find everywhere. So I suggest all to atheists should be rounded people. The people are brilliant, but they are very ignorant in matters of many other subjects that are very important to actually put these people, the psychotic people that believe in God and all that, which suffer from a disorder, in their place. because they are going to destroy the world with their ignorance and psychosis. Yeah, the Muslims kneel down, worship 5 times a day, praying to the God. They had no idea who the God is. They are worshiping, kneeling down to what I call penis Christ, which is the God of creation, the penis, the phallus. And they stuck their butt up in the air, waiting to be blessed.
We have a number of scenes that look like scenes out of daily life, the ideal daily life scenes, parties, banquets, etc. But they all have a funerary purpose because they are on the walls of a tomb chapel.
The ancient Egyptians believed these images were instrumental in the act of being reborn.
This is sex in disguise, you may call it like that. It is a picture of the ideal occasion in real life. In order to be reborn, you have to have these sexual activities that goes before any birth, birth or rebirth.
Because the world was created by an act of masturbation.
Symbols that we see on the temple walls are also present on the Turin erotic papyrus.
The key word here is the lotus flower. The lotus flower is a symbol of resurrection. Probably had narcotic properties, so it's not without reason that they're sniffing these lotus flowers.
Exactly. Hallucinogenic material. God.
There are also other similarities between the codes here and our mysterious papyrus, symbols that also ring true today.
Sex is greatly facilitated, I think, the initial steps by means of alcohol, and the Egyptian knew that. And we always have this triangle of sexuality, of music, and of drunkenness. It really goes together. It did then as it does today.
Yeah, hallucinogenic material.
The messages reveal that sex was central to rebirth in the afterlife.
It was of paramount importance, and it is displayed not directly, but through symbols.
As you can see, these brilliant archaeologists point out the flowers, the blue lotus. The blue lotus, there are different types. But all the religions since 40,000 years ago, they have sacraments, psychotropic substances to see the gods, and also included orgasm and sex and all that in all religions. So religions had sex and drugs. And of course, then the rituals, which included, mimicking to have fellatio, like bound and doing all this stuff. But everything comes from our brains. And believing in all these things today is a psychosis. It's very dangerous. And atheists, scholar atheists like Dawkins and Dennett and Sam Harris and all these people, which are clueless about history. They don't seem to know anything about history and ancient history and connect the dots. Because they're a scholar and very brilliant, but they only know a certain field. So they have to connect all the field before they start to be able to see that these people that believing in God and all that are they have a problem with the brain, and that's why they should be addressed. In this 21st century, believing in God is so different than believing in imaginary friends of the schizophrenics. The music that you heard is my own composition, and all created in my brain. One of a kind song emanating from my brain. And when you have a healthy brain, you can create things. You see, this melody is one of a kind in the whole universe. I compose melodies that come out of my brain and I play them on my chord. So that's just to realize that everything that I put here, the music is my own. So, like my ideas. But anyway, I continue. Everything includes also sex, mimicking, and all that. The epigraphy proves it. It is a fact. And no bullshit here. Just down-to-earth facts. For this very reason, one can see going down on one's knees to worship God. Because if you want to perform fellatio on a god, and the gods were the kings and rulers that were incarnate of the god in heaven, attuned. The penis of the rulers and kings and emperors was sacred, and there was nothing pornographic about it. So if you were a priest and a king, there were a combination of the incarnation of the god and a pharaoh. If you want to worship, you have a ceremony in which you have to actually perform fellatio on these people. You have to go down on your knees and you have to grab the, you enacted that because the Pharaoh was a god that was going to bring fertility to the earth because he was in contact with the sun. All the pharaohs were like that, incarnations of the god Atum. So they did this. And many religions, practically all religions, had this veneration of the phallus, phallic worship. That's the reason the obelisks were created. And many monuments. You see a lot of monuments in Scotland, by the Celtic monuments that are phallic, made out of rock, phallic, everywhere you see that. And of course, the Catholic Church and all the church destroyed everything. Any monument that had the representation of the god Atum was actually destroyed, or they chopped their phalluses off. They were satanic. And they keep it stagnating and corrupting the mind of children. Making them believe that the natural feeling of sexual arousal, procreation, was evil and sin and perverted. And many people were killed about it. And children were spanked. That is happening today in California. This, people, children have been whipped silly and all that by the Christ-psychotic, sick people. Because Christians are sick people. People that believe in God are sick. They have a problem with the brain. And they are immoral and corrupt. All religions are bad. But Christianity is the worst one. Christianity is the cancer of the brain. And I'm fighting them. Because I'm telling the truth. I'm telling like it is. And I can back everything I say with facts. And there is plenty of evidence there that I can use to fight this very, very sick people that are corrupt in the mind of children. But anyway, that was exactly the reason. Everything was considered with all the religions contain your sex, your sacred sex. And also they use entheogens or drugs, roots and all that actually emphasize, they stimulate the brain and make you, see the gods and feel. Because a lot of the drugs that people take, they act like as an aphrodisiac. In other words, it makes you horny, some of the drugs. And then on top of that you see gods, then you have the whole religion. So you can take religion out of sex, but never sex out of religious. And that's actually a fact. You get the blessings of orgasm, which is the kingdom of heaven. Hey, that's love. Be with your girlfriend or your boyfriend or somebody you really care for, and you enjoy both sharing orgasm, which is done with two bodies. The two bodies share orgasm. And then you both experience this feeling and you share this orgasmic feeling. It is amazing. And if you're boyfriend and boyfriend, you experience the orgasm, but you won't have any children. You don't procreate. You're a male and female. You do it just for the pleasure, not to make children. Very, very seldom people have sex for children. You don't see that. It's for, the procreation. But then with the opposite sex, then you can share that, and then you create an entity passing your DNA, and you create an offspring, product of your penis. So God does not exist. If you want to see a true God, look below between your legs, and then you'll see the God that actually creates and gives you orgasm, the true God. Everything else is bullshit. It's product of a psychosis or a very, very, very ignorant brain. Who are the ignorant people? Completely immerse themselves in a world of delusions. They're either the people that suffer from neurological disorders like the schizotypy and all that, in which the bizarre metamagical beliefs are seen as reality. And there are also all religion accept bizarre metamagical beliefs also as reality. So religion and mental illness, the same thing. So I'll be making more videos explaining different things that people seem like they don't see, because there's a lot of professions and a lot of scientists and scholars they only have one profession and one direction of study. I don't. I nibble on different things and then I make the connections. That's the reason why I can tell people few things that they don't say, oh my, I wish I would have thought of that. using common sense and connecting dots and the knowledge that I have accumulated. And then that's, and a lot of people don't do that because otherwise they starve. Because, you know, when you study something, you have a field of study and you concentrate in one thing. If you're only a biologist and you're a PhD in biology, you don't know anything about history. You don't even know how to play piano or music or anything like that, because otherwise there's not enough years in one's life. You need 200 years to learn all these different things perfectly. So it's a drawback, but you concentrate and you can be making money in one field. You can be an architect, an engineer, you know, all that, psychology, neurology, and all that. But then you make a lot of money, you concentrate on one thing, but you only see one thing. I don't have any of those degrees and all that stuff. I just study, barely connecting dots, realizing that I create, all the thoughts are created of my brain. And disease and trauma and certain other things can affect the way I think. And I experiment on myself. So I do that all the time and I enjoy it. It's beautiful to be able to be have a healthy mind. In other words, an atheist mind. And that's important. So remember, the brain creates thought. Let's keep it very healthy. People that believe in God or imaginary friends, which are a bizarre mythological belief, are no different than people suffer from schizotypy or some other neurological disorders or an anomaly that makes them, you know, believe in UFOs are real and spirits and alien abductions and alien placing implants in the brain to monitor somebody's thoughts and, you know, goes to, that's a sign of a psychosis, which is all religious beliefs. Pace di oro.